Welcome to AMP Rapid Fire. This is Asasyn Performance, where we build athletes who become incredible human beings. Talent might open a door, but leadership, accountability, and mindset determine how long you stay in a room. Today's guest is Sandy Cohen. Spent more than 15 years helping athletes, coaches, and leaders develop the focus, confidence, and resilience needed to perform under pressure. He's a former hockey player, elite skills coach, author, speaker, and founder of Mental Edge Hockey. From working with young players to Olympians and professional athletes, he's dedicated his career to teaching competitors how to find a way. Also the name of his book. When adversity shows up, if you've struggled with confidence, pressure, and mistake, or self-belief, this conversation's for you. Please welcome mindset development coach, author, and hockey performance expert, Sandy Cohen.
Hey, you nailed it. Carl, good to be with you, buddy. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
I appreciate you coming on board, Sandy. So eventually the role you play comes to an end, but the mindset you build stays with you forever. What does that mean to you?
Well, first off, I love the fact that you said mindset. So my personal opinion, this is just probably my soapbox, but I never really say the phrase mental performance. I think the stigma or the insinuation is when anybody hears that word mental, that something is wrong with you, right? And I know when I was playing, like no one wants to go talk to the mental person, right? So our approach here is kind of on the other side. So we use that word mindset quite a bit, which I really think is foundational. Like it is the foundation of the building. So I don't care, athlete, not athlete, doctor, lawyer, teacher, whatever it is. The foundation of your building is your mindset, how you think, what not to think, how to reset. So for me, mindset is absolutely everything.
Perfect. So let's talk about the path that led you to where you are today. Do you want to give us the quick version of where you're at today in your life, Sandy?
Sure. First of all, ages and ages ago, I studied it in college, sports psychology in general. But I remember the exact moment. I was working at like a pre-draft camp. I'm dating myself, but this is, over 15 years ago, where everybody on the ice was, they're top 1%, right? They're best of the best. Everybody has game. Everybody can skate. Everybody has jump. And, my career was over. And just over the weekend, I was really kind of taking stock in some of the players that I thought were going to have a better weekend. And then some folks that just came out of nowhere that ended up having a great weekend. And it was really one of the first times I think in my life where I was able to kind of pull back a little bit and really kind of find out, well, what is the difference, right? Everybody out here from a skills perspective, these are all future professional athletes. But what was the difference maker? Why were some able to continue and thrive, whereas others, same exact conditions, same environment, weren't? What I found, and certainly my firm belief even to this day, is while talent is certainly relevant, something that I think gets me in trouble a little bit is that my personal belief is that talent is grossly overrated. Does it matter? Of course. Skill matters. But similar to kind of what you were saying earlier, I think talent moves needles, right? I think mindset is what moves mountains. And I think there is a difference. I spent a tremendous amount of time at that stage of my life. It was mostly pro guys. There weren't pro gals playing yet, but a lot of Olympic players, men and women, who they couldn't put their finger exactly on it, but something was off, right? Like they weren't maximizing their potential. And so slowly it kind of started at the professional ranks and kind of worked its way through that way. Fast forward all these years. We work with lots of different athletes in other sectors, but our roots, my primary roots obviously are in hockey. So we really specialize in customized mindset development coaching for hockey players. Literally. So, and when I say mindset, this is kind of the frame for me, the quick version. These are like the big 7. It's belief, attitude, and grit, focus, emotional control, discipline, self-awareness. So this is all that we do. We work with players, thankfully now, as young as 12 years old, entire organizations, entire teams, and the meat of our business is really in customized one-on-one development training.
Excellent. You nailed that one right away. When was the last time your confidence was shaken?
When I saw this, this is a great question. I'm not shy about answering it at all. I think it happens probably more than most people would think because we're humans, right? And my biggest message, I tell 13-year-olds this, 14-year-olds this, 15-year-olds, the same exact concepts that they are struggling with, mostly belief, some sort of focus issue, some sort of reset, regulating their emotions, focus. Pros deal with they have the exact same issues. Now it's on a little bit of a different line, right? It's a little more advanced. They're further down the road, but normalizing the discomfort, I think, is helpful for a lot of people. I think when confidence struggles a little bit, but the biggest misconception about confidence is that it's something that can just be turned on or off, right? That is the biggest thing that I hear from parents. I wish my son or daughter was more confident, or older players, I wish I was more confident. The great irony, though, is that confidence, feeling confident, is a place where we end up. So I don't spend a lot of time in those uncomfortable situations because I think there's a little bit more discipline just because this is what I do, you know?
What do you think the biggest lie high performers tell themselves?
I think most high performers, if they struggle in any area, it's maybe having a regulator, like trying to turn it off, versus the other side of that coin, the folks on the other side have a much harder time trying to turn it on.
When was the last time you caught yourself talking to yourself, that voice in your head?
Every day. Every
What's
day.
it what's it telling you, Sandy?
It's hardened. It's a hardened voice. It's a voice that has, like anybody, has dealt with terrible stuff, has bounced back. Sometimes that little segment of self doubt pops in, but it's a voice that's rooted in discipline, not in motivation. That for me has always been helpful. That it's a voice that has a lot of habits behind it. It has a lot of understanding that the best way to get to outcomes is through input, right? Actions and behaviors matter. It's normally asking, have we done enough, and trying to find other things to go chase. It gets a little harder when you get older, but yeah, it's always there. It's always there. Some days it's good, other days it isn't. I mean, that's life.
Can you name one failure that made you better?
Yeah, I could probably name 30, and I'm so happy that you just said this, because every single story of an achiever, pick whatever it is. You could be a broadcaster, whatever it is. Like everybody says this, but it's true. Failure is not part of the journey. Like 95% of it is about failure. Like it's the fall down doesn't matter. What matters is the get back up. So yeah, I mean, being cut from teams, having some business challenges, COVID was very, very challenging for the work that we're in. Yeah. So, I mean, they're failures all the time, but I think that I don't look at them as much as failures to like put up on a wall, like that was a failure. I really try and structure it as a learning opportunity, learn from it, maybe recalibrate. And I think if you're focused on the grit and the get back up, it's very hard to beat somebody who like refuses to stay down.
What's something you've changed your mind about in the past 5 years from a different perspective?
I had a tough business. One of our businesses, we had to shut down, not because we wanted to, but COVID was a big challenge, and lost a lot of time, a significant amount of resources. You lose your pride, your ego takes a big knock. You start to second guess yourself. And you're in a pretty low place. And I mean, I distinctly remember that, losing a lot. And I think the only thing that got me out of it is just the concept of movement, action. It's like you can't stay here. My story, there's probably a million other stories like it. It was unique and a big deal to me because it was happening to me. It was going to impact my life, my family, and all of that. And I mean, it was messy. It was messy. And other people who are listening to this, anybody that says, well, like, you don't know my story. Like, I don't know your exact story, but I've lived it. That guy down the streets lived it. Like, I hate to tell you, you're not unique. I'm not unique. And I think that's hard sometimes for people, is to move past but it happened. Okay, now what? I mean, what's the next move? And I think those two things are linked with performers, people who know how to focus. But yeah, it was a tough time.
What advice do you believe people should stop following on their journey towards success and leadership?
One of the things that I think high performers have in common with themselves is that they are all in. Sometimes to the good, sometimes to the bad, right? They put a lot of resources in one bucket and they're driven. So I can't stand when people are dream killers or tell people, calm down, it's just a fill in the blank, a game, it's just a whatever. One, because I know everybody's wired a little bit differently, but I love the all in concept on a dream. And I love it because I know what it takes. I know the sacrifice, and I can look back now being older and say, I think my greatest weapon in my life has been tenacity. Yeah, there are times when my business skill was good or whatever it was, but that's one skill I think that everybody can learn to develop, this concept of grit, because being all in and knowing that there's a difference between being disciplined and being motivated. I love that. And what I don't like is when we start playing the I want to versus like I need to game. And ultimately in my job, I don't care what the destination is, whether it's the NHL, Major League Baseball, being a Fortune 500 CEO or executive,
Right.
whatever the dream is, our only job is to help them maximize their potential.
Great point. So, can confidence exist without evidence?
No,
Why?
because evidence, tapping into belief, in my opinion, the belief, the evidence, that feeling that you get in your gut, that is confidence.
Yeah.
So I tell athletes this all the time when we're talking about this concept. Pick whatever sport. I'll say, think of, there has to have been a play, a goal, an assist, a save, or something that you did last season where it was lights out. Everybody was going nuts. Your parents were there. Everybody was going berserk. Your teammates were mobbing you, right? Maybe it was a goal or something. And players always say, yeah, I have a memory like that. And I say, I bet you could probably remember like the rink where you were in. You could probably remember the jersey color, which side of the ice you were on. Like it's becoming real in their brain, and they start to smile and they say, yeah. Right. And I say, how's that feel? They say, oh, it feels great. Right. And they're smiling. I say, you're probably ready to go right now, right? Yeah. And I say, well, do you know what that feeling's called? What? That feeling's called confidence. But the way that we got there, which probably took less than 10 seconds, is tapping into belief, the evidence, the proof.
Very good point. Is fear ever a good thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you rather be respected or liked?
Respected.
Can talent overcome a poor mindset?
Never.
I think this one we should elaborate upon.
10 times out of 10, I'm taking the player or the whomever who has the no quit function, has the belief function, has the focus ability, has that grittiness. They can grind. They are through and through, and not you'll try to fill in the gaps, but I would take that person every single day versus the person who has all the talent in the world, because in my opinion, that's like most people walking around. This happens to me all the time when I speak, and I'm not degrading anybody, but I mean, I can see it. I can see it in mostly men. They're coming up and they're the resume givers. They're about to tell me, I grew up here, I could have played there, or I could have done this, and oh, there was an injury or a problem with the coach. I listen, I'm respectful, and I get it. But what I want to say is, but you didn't, but you didn't. And that's not pro me, anti you, but that situation's not unique. I know what it's like because I lived it, and I had all those issues, and probably lots of other ones too. So I think that mindset is for me, that's number one, always.
Great point. If I took away your title, your accomplishments, your resume, and your reputation, who are you, Sandy?
I think I'm a teacher. You know what? And I didn't know that probably until maybe around 2015-ish. If you'd asked me as a kid, I'd be like, what? I mean, never. But I think by nature, I think I'm a teacher, an educator. I think I'm a communicator. I would say probably those three things.
Very good. What's one mindset lesson you wish someone would have taught you 20 years earlier with your knowledge base right now?
Spend more time measuring gains rather than gaps. Measure gains, not gaps. And I didn't come up with this. I had someone tell me this a long, long time ago, but they were saying, imagine that we went on a 3-mile hike and we're going up a hill, and we're halfway up, and we decide to take a break, have some water, get something to eat. And I'm looking down going, man, look how far we've come. And you're looking up going, ugh, look how far we still have to go. Like, we're literally in the exact same place. Physically, we're in the exact same place. But it's a mindset shift. And this person always used to say, they would do the glass half empty thing, right? Oh, it's half full or half empty. And this was probably the most insightful thing that anybody had ever told me up until this point in my life. And they said, well, there's a third answer. It's not that the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. This person said, what if the glass is refillable? Just go to the sink and fill it up again. And for me, that was like life-changing, that it was like, holy cow.
And I haven't heard that either. That's a great point. So in closing, finish this sentence. I'm going to give two versions of it for you, Sandy. Someone has a killer mindset when they, or someone has a mental edge when they
know how to manage focus. Focus is number one. Focus is where everything starts. It's for the work that we do. There's nothing more important. That's where everything starts. The ability to, I think, distinguish between what does focus mean? Does it mean locking in? Yes. For so many of us, though, we think that it means blocking out. That's not how the brain works. So it's focus all day.
Good. So if we had a young athlete listening today and they're struggling with confidence, pressure, or mistakes, what advice would you give them?
The first thing I would say is that, number one, you are not broken. Everybody else in the room has the exact same thoughts. Why would you know how to manage any of those things unless somebody taught you how to do it or showed you how to do it? And I do think that's important because so much of the battle for a lot of people, I think, is thinking that they are starting behind the 8 ball or the you don't know what I've been through story. I don't know. So one, I would normalize that, help them understand that all of it is trainable. It's a learned skill, that discipline does matter. Reps do matter. And that ultimately, I think the goal is we're really just trying to win today. So much of our time is about the future or analyzing the past, what may happen, what won't happen. Like, thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are just thoughts. And I always encourage players, athletes, younger athletes, this has to be a part of the training. This has to be a part of the development because this is where so much of it starts, can go off track, can be brought back in because adversity is coming for us all.
Oh, great points. What you've done as a teacher, as a coach, anything that you can add that's something coming from you to the audience.
I don't know any professional athlete, and these days really no Olympic athletes, even collegiate athletes, who don't have some sort of a mindset routine, a way of thinking, a process. It's not because they are lacking anything, but it is the operating system. Like, it is what runs everything. So make it be relevant. And while I can't guarantee that people will achieve everything that they want to in sports or in life just because they do work on mindset, I can guarantee that if they don't, they won't. It is that black and white. That would be number one. And number two is, I don't know if there is anything more important than positive self-talk. Not in a crazy way. You're not trying to hype yourself up, but we all struggle with this. And we live in Florida now. It's on the golf course. I got to fight it all the time. I think the good takeaway is, if you wouldn't say it to somebody else, you cannot say it to yourself. You can't even think it. That makes such a difference.
That's an excellent point. At Asasyn Mental Performance, discipline today, dominate tomorrow. If this conversation helped you think differently about performance, share it with an athlete who needs to hear it. And follow Asasyn Mental Performance or Mental Edge Hockey for more. Hammer the subscribe button on the YouTube. I'm available on all social media. That's AMP Rapid Fire. Remember, knowledge is power when you choose to apply it. Now go out and execute.